Good afternoon. Welcome to this edition of Beyond Report on this Friday, January the 17th, 2020. A happy belated New Year to everybody. As always, thank you for your support and click a like, subscribe, share if you enjoy the content. And it's been a little crazy around here lately. I'm in the middle of a move, so I'm sort of in transition mode. Hopefully, won't be too long before I'm in one place. But I am moving back to West Texas, and we'll be there soon. So hopefully, my video posts will be a little more rhythmic and not so sporadic as they have been. All right, in terms of news, um, Dr. Reid, who is a good friend of mine and a very godly man, minister, demonologist, uh, will be speaking at a spiritual warfare seminar in Lubbock, Texas at the Fellowship Church on February the 7th, 8th, and I think part of the 9th as well. So if you find yourself in Lubbock at that time, I would highly recommend that you go see him. You're definitely going to get a lot out of it. I'll post a link to that in the description. Um, Thank you, everybody, also for the response to the Fringe Pop 321 episodes that I did with my good buddy Dr. Mike Heiser on the topic of vampirism. We did 3 episodes looking at vampirism through the lens of the Bible. It was a lot of fun. We also did a couple of episodes on werewolves, and these are, of course, topics within the larger umbrella of demonology that don't get a lot of vetting in church circles. So it was a lot of fun. If you want to watch those episodes, you can. I've got them on my playlist on the channel. And the werewolf episode should be aired at some point in the near future. We also did a brief interview on Mike's book on the series Stranger Things. So keep watch for those, and I'll keep you posted on any new developments there. And speaking of vampires, if you're interested in the influence of vampirism in pop culture, it might behoove you to watch the new Netflix series on Dracula. This is not a recommendation necessarily, but it does give you some insight into, I suppose, the modern postmodern adaptation of Stoker's work and vampires in general. If you watch it, you'll recognize a lot of the characters: Dracula, Jonathan Harker, Professor Van Helsing, but it's almost an entire reversal of the paradigm in Stoker's original novel. Um, when I first heard about the series, I had high hopes for it because the production company is the same company that did the Sherlock series for BBC, the sort of updated one starring Benedict Cumberbatch. Now, that was excellent. This series on Dracula is, quite frankly, a dumpster fire of postmodern trash, uh, which is disappointing, but not necessarily surprising. So I can't really recommend it, but it is an interesting look at turning uh, the villain here, the vampire, into the hero. In some cases, the tragic hero of this story. Now, another thing that came across my desk recently, and I have to give a shout out to my old friend Travis for bringing this to my attention, is a city that's being excavated in Ethiopia, and the city's name is Harlaa. And the story uh, had a bit of a sensational title to it, that it was a city of giants. What's interesting about the city itself is that it is being excavated under proper supervision. There's a Professor Timothy Insole of the Department of Arabic and Islamic Studies at the University of Exeter, who is the principal investigator of the site, and so it's actually being surveyed and excavated properly. Uh, the level that they're at seems to be a medieval Islamic city. It was a center of trade and learning in that part of Africa, and the giant connection seems to be with the older lore. Um, that is the pre-Islamic portion of the region. Now, thus far, there have been no physical remains that have been recovered that would suggest that there were giants there. But the fact that you have such a rich local lore about giants uh, is interesting. Makes this an interesting site. And I'm going to keep my eye on this. And again, I'll post a link in the description box so that you can check that out for yourself. In closing, a couple of updates. The Sons of God 7 DVD ran into a bit of a snag at the end of the last year, but Joe and I are back on top of it. We've got a few more edits to do, and hopefully within the next couple of weeks, the DVD or digital download will be available. And I'll put a link also to that if you want to check it out. But there's lots of good teaching from the Sons of God conference, and of course we'll be looking forward to another one of those conferences later this year. A couple of sales to mention. You can still take advantage of the 12 module apprenticeship in biblical anthropology through the Institute of Biblical Anthropology for $200. That price will be good until February the 1st. And the other one is the limited edition red cover Nephilim dossier. If you want to get a copy of that, you'll want to do that before the end of the month, because those will also be discontinued February the 1st, and the new dark cover will be the standard cover for that particular work. All right, well, that just about does it for this episode of the Beyond Report. Again, I thank you for your support. Click a like, subscribe, share, and stay tuned for all things Burton Beyond, and we'll see you later. Godspeed.